Salutations viewers, my name is Game Dame and welcome back to another one of Legends of Runeterra patch notes review videos. Now this is a pretty big patch note, so this one might take some time to get through, but we have a lot. We got the dev notes, which I of course always read to you guys, and then we have a lot of new ranked rewards, LP updates, card updates, along with some new personalization and the steal from decks, and yeah, here's the personalization with the new boards, new guardians. Of course, every patch always has card text consistency, new card backs, emotes, bundles, and the rest of the lot. So without further ado, let's get started. So the Season of Fortune begins now. Patch 1.4 is packed with balance updates, new personalization items, ranked rewards, and a new ranked season, improvements to Masters LP, and a new mode, the Gauntlet. So, in the dev notes, card adjustments in 1.4. In addition to our normal commitment to game balance and metagame diversity, many of the card changes in this patch, particularly the rework level ones, are part of a more focused efforts to address issues or opportunities across several groups of cards, specifically epics, Freljord, and steal from deck effects. Epics and LOR have generally intended to be exciting cards with compelling and unique and powerful effects. This can make for some really fun or game-changing options, but also leave some of them feeling overly expensive or unwieldy to use. For this patch, we've adjusted underutilized epic cards from each region with the goal of reinvigorating them for all levels of play, and we hope you find homes for them in some of your decks. Freljord as a region has been relatively low prelate for some time, particularly in higher ranked gameplay. While it's been a bit more play recently, it's often splashed for a few specifically powerful cards like Sejuani rather than a general regional toolbox. So they felt the need that general viability and appeal was a particular culprit and have made changes to Braum and Anivia and make them more attractive options for a wider variety of decks to help Freljord line up better with other regions and usability. Finally, they've adjusted Bilgewater's steal from deck mechanic to work in a more healthy way by drawing cards from the bottom of the enemy deck rather than the top. This kind of effect now also has a dedicated keyword, NAB, which reads, draw a non-champion card from the bottom of an enemy deck. Thank you for your continued feedback on how we continue to improve LOR's gameplay. We hope that you enjoy the changes or at least Rubenzo has covered along with the balance adjustments, and can't wait to see how they inspire our deck building. So, new mode called Gauntlet. Gauntlets are limited tide competitive modes with unique deck building rules. The Gauntlet will open every Friday through Monday, with each weekend featuring a single format from the Gauntlet rotation. The first Gauntlet begins June 26th and will use standard deck building rules as we test drive the underlying tech. A set and type of Gauntlet Singleton joins the rotation on July 3rd and will challenge you to build a deck using no more than one copy of each card. In addition to XP based off your number of wins, everyone who takes on a particular Gauntlet format will receive a special icon, while those who make it to the 7 wins will earn an exclusive Gauntlet Conqueror icon. In the future, they plan to add more exclusive rewards and improve the Gauntlet mode overall, using the technology to build their way to a full scale in-game tourneys. So, of course, new reward, new season. The Season of Plunder ranked season has now ended, and the ranked reward icons will be distributed with this patch based on your performance. Ranked will be disabled until 10 a.m. Pacific time, June 24th, with the Season of Fortune will begin. So Master accounts will be dropped 800 LP to 8 divisions. Diamond and Platinum accounts will drop 750 LP, 7 divisions, plus 50 LP. Gold and Silver accounts will drop to 675 LP, 6 divisions, and 75 LP. Bronze and Iron accounts will reset to Iron 5. As you can see, these are still the icons that are being used. So they do have a Master LP update. So Master tier now uses an LP system rather than the one based on ladder position. So as they've stated up until now, Master tier has been ranked order by MMR, but they've realized, whoa, this has some unfortunate downsides, mainly that it was unclear how much your rank could change in a single game, and losers could feel overly punishing, which I do agree. I have a friend who plays in Masters, and he just says it's so unreal how he so easily a loss could put him behind. So if you'd like to read more about the Masters LP update, it is right here, and I will definitely link this in the description below, so that way you yourself can learn more about this patch. So card updates, we got a lot of cards to get through. So 1 second. All right. Card updates. Champions. So we got Darius level 2. His health went from 5 to 6, so he's no longer a 6 mana 10/5, but a 6 mana 10/6. With Anivia, her cost went down from 7 to 6. So we'll definitely see a lot more gameplay with Anivia, because I know that they wanted to capitalize more on Freljord because they were a little bit underwhelming for a while. And then with Braum, his cost went from 3 to 4. Okay, a little bit more expensive, but he actually now has a power of 1, which makes him a lot more valuable. And you can stack onto his damage now. So that's actually really nice. So in his level 2 stage, of course, cost still the same. Power level goes 0 to 2, and then his health goes from 76. So he does lose a little bit of health, but I think him actually having a base stat for his power level will be super useful in the incoming games. Then we got to change to Jinx's Super Mega Death Rocket. So created by Jinx by level 2. Instead of costing 2, it will now cost 1. So that will, I can't wait to see more Jinx decks. They're so annoying. So now on to the followers and spells. We get Genevieve Elmhart. Her power and health both raised by 1. So she's no longer a 6 mana 4/4, but a 6 mana 5/5. Unyielding Spirit. So the spell speed went from burst to fast. So it's no longer right on like the money. You still got to wait a turn. Basilisk Rider. His health went from 2 to 3. So it's now a 4 mana 5/3 when it used to be a 4 mana 5/2. Captain Farron, his old text was play, transform all your cards into decimates. Oh, I can't read. So his new text is 1-up summon, create 3 decimates in hand. Nice. Okay, that's still, I think, pretty good. He is definitely, like they describe in here, he is meant to be a late game finisher against slow decks, but he was too high variance for this role, so they've adjusted to simply create decimates in hands. That's pretty good. I think that'll definitely help him out in the long run. Aurora Borealis. I love the nameplay on the cards. I really do. Cost went down from 7 to 6. That's good for this spell, especially for Poro decks. I love Poro decks. They're so fun. Poro Herder. Cost went from, whoa, big nerf. Cost went from 4 to 2. Power went from 3 to 2. Health went from 4 to 3. So that the cost in general was a really big nerf. But now his old text, when I'm summoned, draw 2 Poros if you have a Poro ally. He says when I'm summoned, draw a Poro if you have a Poro ally. So he was nerfed quite a bit. But I do like the update that they brought to this card, because they brought more of like an on curve type of card that they could bring in, and it could be a little bit better to use, because I did see Poro Hoarder often in most Poro decks, but it was how do I say this? I think this fits it much better than being in the mid game. I like this change. She Who Wanders, they added the keyword regeneration. Oh, snap. Yeah, she's definitely seen better days. So I think we'll definitely see more of She Who Wanders. They Who Endure, his cost went up from 6 to 7. Still a great card. Doesn't affect it too much, but you will probably have to wait another turn. Well, you will. You will have to wait another turn. But it did provide massive payoffs for decks that killed many of their own units. So I'm glad that they went up the cost for it, so we have a little bit more of a chance before they lay down that card on us. Ren Shadowblade. Wow, so they nerfed this card too. So cost went from 8 to 4. Power went from 6 to 3. Health went from 4 to 3. And the old text was, when the enemy summons a follower, granted ephemeral. Now it says new text, quick attack, strike, create a Shadow Fiend in hand. I like that a lot better. I think I want to see what they said. The strength of Ren's old effect warranted a sizable mana cost, which left the card tough to build around and often not fun to play against. It was never fun to play against. Never fun to play against. They fully redesigned it with the goal of giving ephemeral attacks more deck options for units that can be played. I like this change. I really like this change. I never had a good time playing against Ren Shadowblade. I thought he was a really good card when he was played. And I really like this change that they brought to him, and I think we'll see a lot more gameplay of him, and I'll be able to actually do something about this card. All right, so we got Jave Medarada, or Jave Medarada, Medarda. That's how you pronounce it. So his cost went down too. So they've changed him up. So his cost went from 8 to 6. His health and power went from 6 to 4. His old text was elusive. When I'm targeted, draw 1. His new text now is no longer elusive. So when he's targeted and survives, he draws 1. So that's one less card for the elusive decks. But he's still pretty good for what he can do. Escaped Abomination. His health went from 4 to 3. A lot more manageable to defeat now. I like it. The Harrowing went from 10 to 9. Okay, so Harrowing is meant to be a splashy finisher for Shadow Isle decks, but it struggled to find a home. I like the change. I do agree. They're dropping the cost by 1 to help more synergy-driven Shadow Isle strategies. I do like that. Dredgers, so power went from 2 to 1. It's not really this big of a deal, but it should make deep decks that are from behinds make it a bit easier to catch up. Mind Meld, yeah, it was simply too costly for it. I mean, that's all it was. And Petty Officer, when health from 1 to 2, so it's no longer a 3 mana 3/1, but a 3 mana 3/2. It's more versatile. I like what they're doing with a lot of these changes. They made some pretty big overhaul changes in some of these things, which I do think are really, really good. And will help some of the gameplay from there on forth. Some of them were definitely overdue for a rework. But I like how they've already initiated in the... What are they calling this now? The Season of Fortune. That's what they're calling it now. So with next up is the Steal from Deck cards. So drawing from an enemy deck has always been a thing in Rising Tides. So I know that they want to make changes to address some of the frustrations that players have experienced, which I totally understand. So they'll be keeping a close eye on these changes, but they're open to make further adjustments if necessary. And the changes they made were effects that draw from enemy deck are now draw from the bottom of the enemy deck rather than the top. And new keyword implemented nab, draw a non-champion card from the bottom of the enemy deck. So they want to preserve the merchant's role. So now his health went down from 2 to 1. So he's no longer a 2 mana 2/2, but a 2 mana 2/1. I think that's fine. I mean, he's definitely going to be able to kill easy, much easier. So what they say, we want to preserve the merchant's role as a linchpin of nav decks while making it easier for opponents to remove. Yeah, I agree with that. Pilfered Goods and Yodel Grifter, they've added nab to their descriptions. Of course, more card text consistency. And then more personalization. So now they have Lee Sin's Iron Will. I really like this. This is really cool, very subtle. It's not over the top. And now they have a new Guardian, super cute Von Yip, Unrivaled Genius and Zon, Beloved Companion in Piltover, Personality, Devious Hobby, Unregulated Experimentation. Perfect. And 3 new card backs. So they have the Blind Monk, the Tidal Trickster, and the Bounty Hunter. I like these. They're cute. Not card backs I particularly like, but they are really cute. The new emotes are always fun. I love how they're including Cithria more. And then they have new Lee Sin bundles for 1,332 coins, and the bundles include Lee Sin's Iron Will board, the Blind Monk deck card back, and the exclusive Lee Sin icon. So they got more Expedition archetypes. Again, I'm just going to go through and say either added or swapped. So Afterlife has been, or not swapped, or yeah, it's kind of been swapped. Afterlife has been swapped. Battle Scars has been swapped. Death Stores has been added. To Disruption has been added to. Fishbones has been swapped. Noxian Might has been added to. Relentless has been swapped. Scraphead has been swapped. Shadows and Dust has been swapped. The Spellslingers has been swapped. And Total Recall has been swapped, along with a Wild Pick bonus chance to increase to high from medium. So now they have Vault Cap and bot account bans, which thank the Lord. And then they have miscellaneous and bug fixes. So of course I'm going to leave a link in the description down below, so that way you can read the rest of the patch notes on your own. But I do think this is a pretty solid patch note. I am excited to see more of what the Season of Fortune has, especially in patch 1.5. But thank you guys so much for watching. I had a lovely time. I always like reviewing these patch notes with you. But please do not forget to subscribe under follow. It's my YouTube under my Twitch. You know where my YouTube is at, but you can find my Twitch at twitch.tv/thegamedame. Thanks, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.